So it has been, as of today, Tuesday, April 29th, 100 days of Donald Trump's reign, second administration, and my dick hasn't grown a single inch. And I am pissed. I was told Project 2025 meant my dick would grow like at least 25%.
Is that what the
So
25 in Project 2025 was?
that's what it was about. That's
Wow.
what I heard. That's what I heard. So I'm already mad. Obviously, the big news is that Donald Trump's approval rating is in the toilet. It's at 39%, which is the lowest it's ever been for any president in 80 years. I think since we actually started measuring approval rating, and it's the lowest since Trump's last first 100 days in 2017, which was 42%, which doesn't instill me with that much confidence, Josh, because it's like, oh, well, he served a full term.
Right. Well, that's what's hard, right? You go 39%, and it's like, me, I guess. Like,
exactly. Like,
people do hate him. I hate him.
What are we doing about it? He's still there, last I checked. He's got over 200 lawsuits in 100 days, which is like a pretty good record, honestly. And just in terms of where people's approval, this is a Marist poll that gives Donald Trump what grade? A, B, C, D. Real split here. 23% A, 45% an F.
The people that perplex me the most are not the A people who are like, good, he's being as racist as I'd hoped. It's the C people who are like, I think this is average. This is the average presidency for me. Yeah.
I love that. They're just like, I don't know. When you look at it more specifically, it's really, and I wish, this is where I'm like, I wish it was over toddlers being deported, even though they're American citizens. I wish it was over people being disappeared into black sites in El Salvador. I wish it was over, NIH grants being canceled and vaccine hesitancy and in autism.
Measles outbreaks and
people being
back
warehoused.
Regulations on food safety.
Exactly. I wish it was over that, but it really is around the economy, which again, I know it bleeds out into everything else. It's not just about the money in your wallet, but it kind of is. 72% think he's going to cause a recession. 73% say the economy is in bad shape. And 53% are saying that it's gotten worse since Trump's been in office. I think that's the Ipsos, Washington Post Ipsos poll.
Do you think that the people who believe he's going to cause a recession, the 72%, do you think they're possibly going on the fact of him and Elon Musk going, we're going to cause a recession? We're going to make the economy worse? Do you think that could possibly be what they're included to?
I guess so. Yeah, maybe they're just like listening to the words that are coming out of the actual president's mouth. Like, where times are going to be tough. You're going to have to deal with this.
There's going to be some pain, right? That's what Elon Musk said before the election even. They said, hey, it's going to be economically bad. And then people are going, well, I trust this guy for the economy because he's weathered so many bankruptcies. And if he can do it, so can I, or whatever the fuck they thought.
And it's so great because even Fox News is really struggling. Granted, this is a still, and there was a couple more things because I want to say they did have changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which is a win. It hits really hard for dumb fucks. But this is
dumb fucks want that. Like there are people who I'm like, God, your priorities are so toxic and disgusting and bad. But I don't think anyone was like, oh, I hope he changes the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. That's going to make me feel so powerful.
I'm just saying, when's my dick gonna grow? It hasn't. So this is Aaron Rupar just tweeting a little still. Even Fox News is having a hard time spinning Trump's first 100 days. Presidential accomplishments in their sort of list here: declassified the JFK files, revealed kind of nothing new, ended federal support for paper straws.
How much was the federal government propping up big paper straw? What was the line item in the federal budget for paper straws?
Like maximum, you got to say like 15 million. I thought
you were going to say $15.
I'm like, There's no way. And then the last is ended production of the penny. Thank God the tyranny
The
of
long national nightmare is over.
it's over. I'm
It
really
is. I think though. I mean, there weren't a lot of arguments for continuing to produce the penny, right? Like it wasn't a super. It wasn't like that's not what's driving the economy. I think this is sneakily a way to get back at Abraham Lincoln for the Emancipation Proclamation
it's
when
like,
Trump does it.
actually, Trump was the best president for African Americans. So
As long as you forget about many of the other ones, not all of them, not most of them.
right, exactly. And I keep on thinking with this penny thing, don't you keep on thinking about like sort of like curiosity stores where you can like stretch your penny into
Yeah,
like a different thing?
yeah.
I just pour one out for those.
Well,
Or
now you have to with inflation, you have to bring in a dollar bill,
that's gonna
and
be
then it just
$100.
tears the dollar bill into shreds.
I mean, meanwhile, of course, we got the meme coin rolling out, which
Mhm.
somehow is legal, and everyone's just like, "Oh, we're such libs. Like, we're such little like, can he do that? Like, he's doing it. What the
Yeah,
fuck?" So obviously, this is on top of like all the corruption, all of the insanity, and it really is about um, tariffs. Would put a pin in that because I do want to go to Fox News actually calling out these polls to the face, like to Trump's actual to Stephen Miller's face and saying, "What do you think of this?" Here, let me just bring this up because it's the response is just incredible.
He's sort of underwater, and particularly on the economy, tariffs, and inflation, he's well underwater. You've still got some work to do in that front. A lot of people think that he's spending too much time on tariffs and not enough time on the economy and lowering prices. What do you say?
Well, I don't want to make things awkward for you, John, but it is our opinion that Fox News needs to fire its pollster. And I won't surprise you with that. I don't think you're surprised that I'm saying that, but the Fox News pollster has always been wrong about President Trump. They were the ones that said all summer long that Kamala Harris was going to be the 47th president of the United States. So we don't acknowledge any of that polling. But I want
He's
John, I hate to break it to you, but put your balls between your legs right now. Put them right now. Just tuck them right now. I'm
then turn
needing
around
you
and I
to
will
do
kick
that.
you in them.
Yeah, turn around.
There's so much there to hate, and not just Stephen Miller. I think like starting from the fact that there's two men with one head of hair. Like if they average out the total amount of hair on those two guys' heads, it would be one normal amount of hair to have. Fox touting 55% approved. They went with the highest number as the lower third Chiron, right? That's what they're really pushing is like 55% approve of
That's
Trump
right, of border security.
on border, which is, and again, like you were saying earlier, the way that our country treats and has treated migrants, asylum seekers, immigrants in many ways is so cruel and despicable, and that's what people like the most is like chills my blood to iced coffee levels. But it's God.
But it's also like I do want to just point out
please
that like border security is 55% approved. That's the only thing, as you mentioned. But immigration broadly, more people, according to the Fox News poll, disapprove. On deportations, more people disapprove. And this squares, as we sort of get, upset about, obviously, and rightfully upset that, folks are more focused on tariffs than they are about these like, human rights abuses. But like the majority of Americans also are like, hey, return this guy from Maryland who was deported unjustly.
Of course. Right. And I think that's a really smart point, right? Where even though people are like, well, we shouldn't let anyone in at the border, they're like, oh, but that's not what I meant. That's not the immigrants that I'm talking about.
Exactly.
It's so, it's so bleak. And it's like, I love that they showed 9 things where 8 of them, or whatever the number is, 8 out of 9, 7 out of 8, that he is underwater polling. And then they pick the one for the Chiron of like, people think he's good at the border. And it is. Wow.
And people are turning. Let's go to this clip from CNN did this interview with a woman who's in Arizona, seems to have voted for Trump, but like listen to how much she's changed and specifically over these threats to Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all the things that have been third rails that under Project 2025, it's like, no, we're touching that.
I'm worried about Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. He did say that he wasn't going to cut them, that he was just going to find the waste. And I really hope that he sticks to that.
Why is that so important to you?
It's important because we need to take care of our people with disabilities and our elderly and those that depend on it. And they can't survive as it is right now, and we cannot cut.
Varga is a Tucson hero. Her food truck and candy store employ 50 people with special needs. She's renovating this restaurant to employ even more. A devout Christian, lifelong Republican, but some big changes. Varga says she no longer believes Trump's claim the 2020 election was rigged. She's now open to supporting Democrats for local offices and says Trump tariffs are one reason prices are not dropping fast enough.
The items that we put in our gift baskets have gone up.
So when he says there's going to be some disruption, maybe even some pain, but we're going to get there. For now, you think, okay, I'll give you some time?
I'll give him some time, and I'm hopeful, but, I think that if he doesn't come through, he's going to have a lot of people turning on him.
Ooh. I'm open to voting for Democrats locally. I don't think Trump lost 2020. And this is, I think, Josh, to what we were talking about, this is, I think, where Democrats need to exploit more, because even though, yes, folks are mad at the tariffs and everything's like stalled out because of the tariffs, right? There's, whatever, LA ports are going to have 35% less shipments arriving because of the tariffs and this ping pong.
And then he's going to take credit for solving LA traffic.
Right. Exactly. Please do. This is a woman, she probably is anti-choice, right? She probably thinks abortion is murder, but she runs a business for people with special needs. Like, people with special needs work in this business. She clearly has empathy. She's clearly talking about the elderly, the disabled. And so the idea that Democrats can only combat this authoritarian agenda and the incompetence through pocketbook issues, I think is an oversight, because actually there's a moral lane to take when it comes to stripping people of their Medicaid, when it comes to, defunding cancer research, and when it comes to obviously deporting people. So I'm like, all of this is fine and good. It's great that they're turning their backs, but without an actual vision, without Democrats fighting more and actually fighting for this moral ground, I get worried.
And I think that you're right in that so many issues, you can call anything a distraction when you want people to see it as a distraction, right? If you're focus on the thing I want, this other thing is a distraction. And I think that if they can fuck up all this stuff that is important and keeps people alive and help and is really important to the quality of life and equity and equality, we can talk about fixing it all, repairing it and protecting it, right? I don't think there's no Republicans going protecting Social Security is a distraction from the tariffs. They're going, no, ruin it all. You know what I mean? So I think it is harder to fill a lot of lanes at the same time with all sorts of these different projects. And the speed of tearing something down is obviously so much easier than the speed of building something up. We've all seen how toddlers operate around Legos and blocks, but it is not a distraction just because it's hard or means Gavin Newsom has to stay at the office late instead of having a podcast with the ghost of Eichmann.
Yeah. God. No, this is lastly, because we got to move. First of all, it's just amazing. I was going to ask you this question, is it worse than you thought it was? I'll give you my take. I think this is exactly as bad as I thought it would be. I think it's probably worse because I wasn't factoring in maybe the amount of executive orders that honestly somehow the entire media establishment and the political establishment was kind of taking as the gold standard. Today, Trump is basically weaponizing and deputizing local law enforcement to not only cooperate and run roughshod over any sanctuary city laws, but is also if you do anything bad, if you get prosecuted or you are under investigation, the federal government will back you up for being a cop on the job, doing whatever it is you need to do, killing an unarmed person.
Terrifying.
Right. And so I guess I'm no, man, this is as fucking bad. And anyone who was I don't know, he might be better, or I don't know, there's a MAGA base or there's a rift. It's like, shut up. You're so naive. We all knew this was going to happen.
I was naive in a way. I think the federal government, the like elected official stuff that's being done and the executive orders were all kind of what I expected. I expected him to appoint a drunk TV host to lead the military.
Sure.
I all of this. The stuff, the thing that I kind of mocked and needled when it was announced and did not fully, and this is on me, did not fully realize the gravity and the access they would have is the Doge stuff. Like Doge being able to walk into any building with armed guards and be like, give me everyone in America's social security number.
Yeah.
No further questions. That stuff is like the amount that they've been able to like open the gas tank of the government and piss in it is like beyond my worst fears for it. And so that's on me.
There's no protection. You're like, oh, okay.
A bad enough existence. Maybe I should have asked AI to help me imagine that.
You really should have. You'd be like, yeah, imagine the worst possible thing, and then we would have been more prepared. See?
Yeah.
AI can work in our favor.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. And I think, the fact that there is the side that law enforcement has been on, especially in the violent seizures of our data and access to, again, yes, our social security numbers and our information is terrifying. And that, I think you're absolutely right, is something maybe we didn't see. So we're all a little naive, but not no more. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.